Oh. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome everybody this morning. You have approval of the agenda.
I'll so move.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Do we have approval of the minutes from January 12th, 2026 meeting?
So moved. I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Yeah. Business here is the zoning variance request, Huberty subdivision lots 47 and 38. Just to refresh, we had a public hearing on Monday and everybody kind of wanted to do some research, so we decided to meet here again, and here we are. We have one letter that has been submitted again, and
It's a different letter.
it's a different letter. And you want me to read that now, Andrew?
We can open the public hearing. We can reopen the public hearing.
Yeah, let's do that. If I can get a motion to reopen the public hearing.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Public hearing is now open. Before I read the letter, does anybody have any comment out here?
I went home and started thinking, I chewed on the meeting, things that I said, and I was a little nervous and not as prepared as I would have liked to do. One of the things that I thought maybe wasn't made clear by me was that while we have 90 students enrolled in Likewise Academy, we take one class at a time. So at the very most, in any given class day, we would only have at the very most at 100% enrollment, 25 kids at one time. So I don't know if I made that clear or not. And I wanted to make sure to clarify that for everybody. That's all.
Okay. And Likewise isn't busing in extra students. This is students that are already in our school corporation. There's no extra transportation, no extra cars, no extra parents dropping off. This is kids that are already enrolled in North Judson Sanford School Corporation that are on campus.
Exactly.
Correct.
And as we pointed out Monday, we are parent permitted. The students that come can only come when their parents permit them and sign a release for them to come. And we're privately funded, and we are a non-denominational group. We are strictly teaching the Bible, which I know has nothing to do with you.
Can we comment on things from the last meeting?
Absolutely.
So, just so everybody's clear, Kathy said this before, but the students come in after the buses drop them up. So there's no extra traffic during bus drop off and pick up before and after school. Also, I see there could be 4 houses on that property. So people that were concerned about traffic, 4 houses will bring much more traffic probably than 2 teachers and 2 or 3 volunteers would come into that place during the day. More traffic, more cars. I just thought of that point after, and that's what it will be then. If this doesn't happen, it'll be outright 4 houses.
Yeah, I'd like to have a comment too. I thought about this, and it wasn't mentioned at the last meeting that Rusty Kearns was approached. And I like property rights. I own property in Starr County, and I'm a firm believer in property rights. Rusty elected to sell us this property with the mindset of what was going on. He approves as the property owner. And we never brought that up at the last meeting either.
So would Rusty, if this did not go through, would Rusty sell the property for development for houses?
I don't know that.
So that's kind of unknown. Yeah.
Okay. We did receive one, one letter in time, in time past. And I will read that now. Dear members of the BZA, after viewing the initial meeting via live stream, we were left with more questions than answers regarding this proposal. We are writing to formally state our opposition to the construction of the Likewise Academy building on the field directly across from our home. While we welcome responsible development within the town, we believe that this facility would be more appropriately located elsewhere. To be clear, we do not oppose Likewise Academy as a program. We understand and respect that the students are currently permitted to participate during school hours, and we have no objections to families choosing that option. Our concern is specifically with the proposed permanent structure and its placement within a residential neighborhood. The field in question has historically been farmland and is surrounded by homes. All existing businesses and organizational facilities in North Judson are located on designated commercial or mixed-use streets, not within residential neighborhood. Most being on State Road 10, allowing a permanent organizational building in this location would significantly alter the character of the area and set a precedent for future non-residential development in established neighborhoods. Additionally, while the proposed building has been described as approximately 900 to 1,000 square feet, it was also stated that the structure could be expanded in the future. This raises concerns that what is being presented as a small-scale project could eventually grow into something much larger with increased traffic, activity, and long-term impact on nearby homeowners. Another concern is the lack of clarity surrounding the project details. During discussion, the representative indicated that they do not yet know where on the field the building would be placed, whether on the east side, Vision Street, or in the center of the property. This uncertainty makes it difficult for residents to properly understand or evaluate the full impact of the proposal and suggests that key details remain undecided. It also appears that there are multiple alternative locations within the town that would be more appropriate and practical for this type of facility, rather than placing it in a residential neighborhood. For example, areas such as corner of Upkus Drive and State Road 10, the grassy area near Railroad Street and Cincinnati Street, behind the superintendent's office, between that building and the softball field, near the corner of 500 West and State Road 10. Several of these locations would allow students to walk directly to the facility, eliminating the need for bus transportation. This would reduce additional traffic, fuel costs, and commuting. For these reasons, we respectfully request that this project not be approved for construction on this residential property. We believe facilities of this type are more appropriately placed in areas already intended for institutional or commercial use rather than directly across from family homes. Thank you for your time and consideration. We appreciate the opportunity to share our concerns and hope they will be carefully considered before any decisions are made. Sincerely, Kenzie and Betty Biancotti, 6221 South Evening Street, North Judson.
They submitted a letter last time,
Dated back yesterday.
so that's the second one from the same person.
From the same person. Any comments regarding this letter?
No, it's pretty straightforward.
Appreciate suggestions.
I'm like, I
But
should call her.
everything's gonna be across from somebody's house.
I would ask those people, are they offended by me farming 1 acre of ground zoned residential? And I'm agricultural. I have the same question. Am I unwelcome there with my farm tractors, which weigh 25 tons on the city streets? I just.
Yeah, no, I,
Gosh, you understand my point.
I
now, I
get
know.
where you're, yes. John, Jerry, is it?
Do you guys know which way the front of the building would face now since the last meeting or?
Our preference would be that it would be facing Campbell, for visibility. Yeah. And like we said, this is our initial step. This property, when I was hired as the director, over the summer, I was riding through the whole town of North Judson, looking to see what property would make the most sense. And this is the property I landed on. Turns out I'm not the only one or the first one to have had that same thought. But this is our very first step. We don't even have our plans drawn up yet because first we needed to know, do we even have an option of a place to build? But I've had conversations with the man who headed up the project at West Central. I talked to him this week and he gave me a few of his insights and thoughts. One of the things also about all of the LifeWise structures that I'm aware of that I've looked at are built in residential areas as close to the school as possible. And we do have to be within a 5-minute drive to the schools because of our timeline. We don't have time to transport the kids anymore. So if that's a long answer to your short question, but do you have any other questions regarding that? Okay. And if we divided the lot, if the lot was divided, if we didn't use the whole lot, which we probably wouldn't need to, our preference would be the east side, the one closest to the school.
And,
Go ahead.
okay, one thing about, students being able to walk to the, on bad snowy days or rainy days, that's not feasible. We don't want to have to walk kids in downpours to a building.
And they're coming from the elementary, so that
Yeah,
Yeah,
the elementary kid coming, right?
that's a 25-minute walk. Little kid.
And you can't build on already owned property, correct?
Right.
Because I think a couple of those that were mentioned were already school owned property.
Yeah, we could not build behind the superintendent's office, even though that would be really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe one of the other properties mentioned, it's either going to be Corey's property or it's going to be town property.
I was gonna say that. I thought I knew somebody who's got property.
Yeah.
I think one of those.
Yeah,
Maybe other people.
So that would be great, but it's the time frame, because we're already uptown and it's just so long. That's the key right there. If I could just say something, go ahead. I mean, this subdivision is literally, I don't know. It's self-explanatory, right? This middle school is literally with Ubany in that area, so. The traffic coming through the school, you know what I mean? This is during the day, everybody's at work. There's a couple cars, that's the gist of it. There's nothing else really going on there as far as disruptive of anything. From 8 to 2, you know what I mean? But it's literally across from the middle school. I don't know.
Looking at a school, that was your point.
It's the uptick of the traffic in which there is none. There is none. As far as what do we consider traffic? I don't. More than 10 cars? I don't know. But the amount of traffic that comes after school, that makes sense. Like that's been a lot of cars leaving the school and going west and down every division, you know what I mean? So for me, that argument doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Because you live across from a middle school, basically, and high school.
It's already very close proximity to a building like what we'll have.
And addressing the size of the building and looking to the future, I know you talked about 1,500 square feet, I think, when we initially, but we really didn't see any plans on what type of structure it's going to be. And I think there should be some, maybe some limitations based on what you're going to do around the building. And is it going to be something that just a building that sits there? Is there going to be some shrubbery? Something that kind of puts it in the same thing as a residential neighborhood. And if that's not the case, then it kind of stands out a little bit different. Looking at registration, I know we asked about that, talked about it. The state's pretty vague on that. They really, yeah, they say yes, and then they say, well, maybe this and maybe that. It's kind of a real wishy-washy area. I looked at the website, went in and looked at that. They've had some legal problems in the Midwest with their various school locations. Don't know why I didn't get into it. It's just that they mentioned those lawsuits had happened. Other than that, not being a certified school, I mean, I understand Bible training is probably a little bit different than a standard school. That kind of concerns me. But I think the purpose is good. I think there may be, if there's going to be problems down the road, I would hope not. That it could be from that, and understanding the neighborhood, that they don't really want their resident changed to something other than at least something that looks like home.
Mhm.
So that's kind of where I'm coming from.
Well, all of the plans that we're looking at look like homes. In fact, we were looking at Corey's building that he's working on right now. For two purposes. One purpose to see if that structure would work for a Lifewise building.
Mhm.
And it absolutely would, with some modifications on the
Yeah.
inside. So, yeah, we're not building a commercial building that you could put up another kind of business in.
Yeah.
And it's my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, 'cause I'm wrong a lot. The variance would only apply to a Lifewise building. It wouldn't apply to any other.
That would
business
have to be the limitations, that it would revert back.
Yeah.
I would assume.
That was my.
To a residential.
You put stipulations for.
Yep.
How it looks, what size.
Yeah. Any expansion that we would do would only require an additional 2 classrooms to accommodate high school and middle school, because if their schedules overlapped, we would never require a bigger space than that.
You're talking about possibly doubling the size of the existing building.
Probably not double.
Not double,
It
no.
depends how many kids you have. You have 1,500 square feet for what, 90 now?
For 25 at a time, though.
Yeah.
So we would never need really more than 1,800 square feet in my mind. They talk about 25 square feet per student. So the classroom is only going to be, less than 700 square feet. So at the very most, 3 of those. Yeah, so.
Any question? John, to address your, it would look like home. You'd have shrubs, flowers.
Yeah, I mean, it's a residential neighborhood. You don't want to put something out that's just
It's not gonna be
sort of fun.
Yeah, no, I mean, it literally would look like a house with all the things.
Like we all keep up our own properties.
We want something that looks nice for the students to come to.
Sure.
So realistically, even with an addition, I mean, you're 3,000 square feet or less, more than likely.
Oh, yes.
More than likely.
Which if each lot sold and put a 2,000 square foot home on it, you're looking at 8,000 square foot of home on 4 lots. This would still be quite a bit smaller than that.
You guys would use would use the east half where you're building. And you would lot off the west half for homes, do I understand that right? Or
That's up to the property owners.
up to-
That would not be up to us. Cause any partial, if it's a partial donation, the donated property would be Lifewise. But the rest of it, if we didn't use the whole part, it would be the landowners.
And that would be up to you guys. What's allowed in that areas.
Any thoughts on that?
And she can farm the rest of it. It'll be houses, I'm sure it'll be houses.
I think from a town, that was brought up to me from a town perspective is, you'd have 4 lots that you would have taxes paid on. Well, but what I'm saying is at least you would be able to keep two,
Yeah.
which I think is
Well, I see what you're saying.
amicable.
Yeah, because there's not, we're not making much more property in town. So
Right.
as to your point, yeah. And infill housing is what has been the mantra for years now, because it's harder and harder to annex property unless you have 100% of the business or property owners on board. So that infill housing is what promotes improvements and raises property tax values and improves neighborhoods. So yeah, and on our utility side as well, the more tap fees and we just talked about a wastewater project that's like, okay, is it 4 years out or is it like 6, 7 years out, depending on dollars? So another avenue of improving our wastewater treatment plant is for customers. That means more dollars in. That gives us a greater position when we go to bond a project and seek financing. It gives us a better position. So yeah, we want to look at it from all those angles. Our comp plan, what our comp plan says about housing promotion in town and growing within ourselves, within our means too. So
The planning commission looked at this.
no, it comes to the BZA initially. Yeah, not initially. It comes to the BZA for a variance, use variance for no.
Can I respond to that? One of the things that draws people into a community is the strong school
Mhm.
in the community. And I think, and this is just my opinion, but I think when people see, wow, there's a LifeWise Academy, this school is really a strong, I think it just speaks to how strong it is for a community to embrace an additional educational opportunity. I really do. I'm not just throwing that out there as a LifeWise representative. I think when we moved to North Judson years ago, it was such a thriving, booming town. School was just overflowing. And I think anything that the town can do to encourage that kind of growth of education encourages people to say, hey, that's a town that is growing. That's my opinion of that. And I understand, there aren't too many places to build new homes in town.
Yeah.
I understand that,
And I
but
take your point too. Our businesses, in a lot of sense, hollowed out, completely hollowed out. We're still working on getting a grocery store here. What? Like, how is that possible? Well, it's because big buys up small goes away, and we're left with not much. So yeah, in the vein of that, it makes it more attractive to have those things. And I don't think anybody opposes you guys at all. I think it's location. That's all that comes down to these letters and input from people. It's just location, and they have a personal stake in it. And I don't know how I would feel if it was my next door neighbor. I couldn't tell you. I don't know, even across the street. But I take your point entirely. Yeah, absolutely. I think there is the more, and I guess I don't know anything about LifeWise. I've never heard of it, any of that. But I take your point for sure.
I guess I don't have any more questions. I guess if there are none, we want to make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make the motion, to close the public hearing if no one else has anything else to say.
Could I say one thing? Just on the point of LifeWise. We want to do to promote it, but several back in I think it was in the 1800s, and I may be pronouncing this man's name wrong, but he was a philosopher from France, and he came to America, and he seen how great America was. France had
They had the rich and they had the very poor, and there was no middle class at all. And he could not really understand why America was so prosperous until he went into the churches. When he went into the churches, he said, America is great because America is good. And when America ceases to be good, it will cease to be great. And likewise, it's a non-denominational thing that doesn't exclude people from other denominations. It's Christian denomination, but that's the only thing about it. So that's a thought to, and today we're in dire need of that. When school was very safe. No one thought about bringing a gun to school. And I would think that we should do all we can to encourage the basics of Christianity to our children to make America as great as it once was. It's my comment.
So there's one motion on the floor to close the public hearing. We have a second. Second, all in favor? Aye. Bring this to a vote or? To make a motion, to either accept or deny, and then on the basis of how much.
Yeah.
Whether it's the whole thing or.
Allow for half. And, yeah, the design of it seems to be what has questions asked, answered. And asked and answered. On the look of it, of course, that's another one, but yeah, and it's, approved, deny, or approved with restrictions, basically.
I'll make a motion, we approve the variance with the restrictions. That is pertaining to local, county, state ordinances, rules, and guidelines. And it fits in with the decorum of the neighborhood.
Full second time. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Was that you? Is there a dissent?
No, I was looking over stipulations that I'd written down, just to jot it down. And that was number one, talking about the property reverting back to residential if, Wise, I can't remember what it was, Wise Life? Life-wise, I had it close. And being split into two parcels, I think that's part of what we talked about also.
Yes.
State approval, Jerry covered that pretty good, I think, get that on that. And the entrance off of Campbell Street. And I can't think of any stipulations other than the town would have any requirements.
No, those were the questions, where and how oriented, and just the more visual aspect of it, which that was covered.
Looking at state requirements and that, when it comes to the fire marshal and things of that nature, do they have to meet the same requirement as the school?
Any building that's open to the public is subject to the fire marshal's
Yeah.
jurisdiction.
Yep. And we would have an experienced contractor handling all of the details, and he'll know.
And that is half the property, is my understanding, on the east half of the property. Is that my understanding of what we're written here? Or am I wrong? Just so I can.
That's what we discussed. Yeah, the east side, yeah, that's what we talked about. Looking at the layout of the property. He gave me another copy.
Which, as with the original application, was the west side would be allocated for housing.
Okay.
Yeah, development, future housing development.
That's the way I understand.
Gotcha.
Can I ask? The parcels are
That's
wide
another.
and narrow, so can
That's
that,
another one is, it would be, and if you split it in half, you could almost join the two on the east side, the one,
okay,
and the other two on the other side, they would fit, Joan, Beatty and the, neighbor behind her being tight. They almost mirror the property line, so I don't know that you would have to change much there.
both parcels on the map are divided along Campbell Street, long ways,
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
right.
yes, and I think if
And
you.
that's okay that we,
Yeah, and I think as long as what's understanding, I believe in splitting it east side and west side, like that whole neighborhood, you would take that line and just draw it in half. And that would essentially give you 4 parcels.
right,
Likewise, you would, like I said, want to join one parcel to just put it in the center or where it's oriented best for your needs and according to our town code. But on that would, if you split it in half, that would essentially leave you those other 2 parcels that mirror the
Right.
neighboring one. So yeah, that makes total sense as far as the makeup of the block on our zoning map.
that's why we have for the whole thing, because the dividing line with that.
Sure.
What are you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's the way. That's that.
So you'd have the access on Division Street for the other half, basically,
For the LifeWise campus.
No, for the other
No,
one,
for the 2 residential, let's say.
on
It'd be off.
Cuban,
Yeah,
west side.
I guess one could be off Campbell if you.
You had Division?
Right. I think we're a block. No, it's Cuban. So Division is the road that runs into the middle school. And, parking area. So it's pretty much like this.
Is that between Jones and the west side of this property?
So
Jones
likewise on this half.
Jones on the
I know
west
where they
side.
live, I
Residences
don't know
on
the
this
name of the
house.
street.
Residential
That's
space
huge.
this way.
So
Seems just like
Division
these homes.
is on the coast side.
And if you're gonna split it in half this way. Yeah, you'd still have to have Campbell access on both. Yeah, I see what you're talking about.
Yeah. All in the still have access. Yeah. There's at least 2 out.
Yeah, this is. Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's what I was.
Yes.
And the details. Okay, we have. Jerry made the motion, Isaiah seconded.
Anybody up here got any comments or questions or anything short? I don't either.
There's a 30-day remonstrance
Yes.
period.
Yeah, just never.
No, never got back to us. Our attorney
Lost.
had to travel overseas. There was a death in his family. So if
So-
not, he would be on our Zoom.
Yeah,
There is a 30-day period where, if we receive anything, whether it's through and this is with specifics, whether it's, through the courts or some measure of a remonstrance to that. But there is a 30-day period after approval.
yes, there is. So you're getting like Anderson, the details.
Yeah.
For certain of them, I'm not gonna speculate.
Yeah, and we'll communicate. I know it was 30 days because we had another
Yeah.
variance recently, that Justin, we were informed of that then as well. So,
I guess if nobody else has any questions or any additional. bids, then-
one additional
Yeah.
thing, we, for the year, we need to elect a chair and a vice chair of the BZA like we do every year. So I know Josh had that last year. If someone wants to make a vote.
Make a motion that we keep Dodge.
Second.
All in favor?
Since I rode with you.
I guess you need a motion on vice chair.
Vice, yeah.
Oh, Jerry. Yeah. I got it.
Is that a motion?
Yeah.
All in favor?
All right.
Great, there you go, set up. I guess if there's no business or further questions, we can make a motion to adjourn. Second, all in favor?
All right. All in order.
You know,